Hello and welcome. Sabina Volter, love intimacy coach, tantrika, your sister, and your support in your way on the things that are connected with your pleasure, with your wonderful relationships. And today I'm having a special guest. So, Jen, welcome and thank you so much for being here, for saying yes to my invitation. I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you, Sabina. It's so lovely to be here with you.
So we know each other from a training that we did a few months ago. That connection was like so strong. I felt like I feel so connected to that woman. I don't know why, but I am. And that's how we became friends, actually. It was so quick and so simple. And I'm like, why don't people just make friends like this? It's so amazing.
Yeah. Well, we say there's certainly chemistry in any close relationships and close connections. And we felt that, I would say, when we first met each other, right, in a Tantra teacher training.
Exactly.
And then turns out it's not random because we are working in the same profession, in the same field. We're passionate about similar topics and missions.
Exactly. So, guys, for you to know, Jen is a somatic healer and an intimacy coach, which is what we share together. And this woman has definitely the tools that you need or you look for in terms of what she actually provides. And my first question to you, Jen, is what's the story behind what you do and how did it came to be this way?
Oh, okay. Um, I never getting tired of talking about this,
That's
because
passion.
I know it's not just about me. It's not,
Mhm.
yeah, it started with my pain. As you may imagine, like a lot of healer or teachers, why they chose to do what they do is because they had the transformation. And the same for me. I so I was born in China and I immigrated I came to the US. Right now I'm based in US, New York City. I came to the US for my graduate school study in business.
Mhm.
Totally different from what I'm doing now. And I was doing business in corporate world for a long time, over a decade. And then meanwhile, I found out I couldn't use whatever skills I have learned in school, even up to, graduate school, and to solve the relationship issues I had in life.
Mhm.
And it was very frustrating and painful. And ultimately, I had several really big, devastating events. And because of that, I was so determined to find out what went wrong.
Mhm.
I was trying to fix myself. Even deep down, I know like I did whatever I could to be a good partner, to have a wonderful relationship. I couldn't know what went wrong. So on my own journey for healing, I encountered so many facts and things and knowledge and changes that I never learned in my past over 30 years,
Mhm.
because I started this journey in my 30s. And now I'm 40, over a decade, 40s, in my 40s, over a decade. And I realized that there's a big part I was missing in my own deep connection, in my love, self-love, and in my relationships. That was how to connect with my body, my energy, my sexuality,
Oh,
and
that
my deep
resonates so
desire.
much. Mhm.
And that was not easy to confront all that.
Yeah.
And especially some of them are quite contradictory to what I have learned in school. And then
There.
through that journey, I knew like this is the career I want to devote my time and passion and my wisdom for.
Mhm. I love that answer. And I am pretty sure that many of you can actually reflect yourself in the mirror of Jin's history. I mean, I literally felt it on my back, like this rush of, oh my God, I've been there. Like I had to connect with my body or else. I was like, this, either this, and that other stuff was like, I'll slowly die if I
Mm,
don't. And
yeah.
yeah, it was like I had to. And
Hmm.
it does change a thing. It does change everything actually when you turn your awareness to your body, to your energy. You learn it actually because we are
Yeah.
conditioned to believe it's different, to behave differently, to use different, I don't know, communication techniques and something. And I don't know how about you, but I think all across the world right now, people are learning like how to say or what to say so that
Yeah.
rather than how can I stay connected with my truth, with
Hmm.
my authenticity, and I can actually invite people and invite my beloved to this area so that there is no
Hmm.
longer me and him or her, but us. And I don't know, it's very weird at the moment, and no wonder many people get tired and they literally collapse. And yeah, that's
Mm,
how healers emerge. That's why so many people open their eyes and start something new. I mean, yeah,
yeah.
it is a
Yeah.
very probably it is a hard story, but
It
our,
is.
our teacher Sarita very often mentioned like no mud, no lotus.
Hmm.
Yeah, no mud, no fucking lotus. So so right now,
Yeah.
it's wonderful to see that you're blooming
Hmm.
and it's very visible.
Yeah. I would say never, it never, the process never ends.
Mm-hmm.
Because as much as I have done a lot of trainings and get support I need and have the transformations I desired, and I'm still always in the process,
Yeah.
right? Because it's we are facing human condition. We are facing the society, the norms, especially I say in this AI driven stage, as you just mentioned, it's getting much easier, even easier and quicker to learn strategy,
Mm-hmm.
to acquire information,
Yeah.
right? At zero cost. If we say 20 years ago, information was the same, who can sell for a lot of money and people will pay for it. And
Yeah.
nowadays, information is just everywhere. It's
Yeah.
almost we are paying to reduce the information, what I need to look into, what I need to
Mm-hmm.
pay attention to, versus give me more information,
Yeah.
right? And give me more strategy, give me more tips and tricks, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I'm working with my clients, this is so common. It's like the value in coaching and in guidance, personalized guidance, is to help you put your attention at the right place so
Right.
that this is just the right amount for you,
Mm-hmm.
the right solution for you, instead of all the overwhelming external, everybody knows or AI knows the tips and tricks and how to. In fact, the more what we're learning is to how to determine to to
Yeah.
turn off a lot of the noises and voices and turn within to
Yeah.
our inner wisdom.
Yeah. Oh my God. I
Yeah.
remember the moment when I decided I'm gonna go on a dopamine detox. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put away my smartphone and I'm gonna have it wasn't big. I was just thinking Saturday and Sunday. These 2 days, every month. I'm just
Mm.
gonna just no media, not
Unplug.
unplug. Exactly. Offline. Focus on, I don't know, my creativity, like journaling or
Mm-hmm.
meditating, really staying, centered. And I was like, I remember that moment, Saturday, 2 p.m. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I
It's a
need to
drug.
look at my Instagram.
No, it's a drug.
I was like, what the hell? And then it really hit me. Even though even though I was very disciplined at that moment, like, 1.5 or maybe 2 hours screen time, no longer during the day, even
Mm-hmm.
though it was like this window, a very narrow comparing to other people, still, I actually experienced how deep it was, and that frightened me. So that was the moment when I was like, okay, this is a signal, like go even deeper into your body.
Mhm.
Which leads me to another question that I would like to ask you. Uh, Somatic healing.
Uh-huh.
Like, tell us more about how that works and how can you introduce this vast topic and in your own words.
Oh, thank you. This is something I feel I wish I had the education in school, right? I wish everybody had the education in school. So somatic healing really is two part. The first is healing. Healing is about bringing love to things we dislike or
Oh,
we
I
feel
love that
pain,
definition. I love that. Mm.
right? When we talk about healing, a lot of times we easily think, oh, there's so many hundreds or thousands of different modalities. Which one should I do, right? I mean, I was like that before, so I knew how it feels. It's like checking the box, very business and
Yeah, that's
problem
exactly what I
solving oriented
meditation, breath
mindset.
work.
Yeah, let me check the box. Let me do
Yeah.
this and that, A, B, C, D. So after I have done 10 or 20 different modalities, okay, I'm healed, right? Something like that. In fact, I've been there. I know how it was.
Mm.
Healing is really about less about modality. Yes, modality is important. Finding what resonates with you, right? Of course, that's important. But the core is no matter what modality you use, who you work with, it's about building building a safe space so that you can slow down and bringing love and care to the part you ignore or dislike.
Oh God, I love it. Yeah.
And when it's like a light, shining a light into, shed light into darkness. When the light is in the darkness, and that transforms everything.
Mhm. Oh, I love that.
It doesn't mean the darkness is gone. No, that means we can have harmony with the parts that we don't like or we hate or we wanted to avoid or want to change, right?
Yeah.
And we have power from that harmony. And as a result, the change happen automatically. So
Mm.
it's quite contradictory from we need to change something, then we do and change it. No, we want to be first being with it, how to attentively being with this part, and then let the change happen. And that's organic. It doesn't sound like a lot. It sounds almost like effortless, but when we actually do
Yeah.
that, it's not effortless. That's where
Hmm.
the effort is. So that's what my view on healing, right? That's the attention and care and lead to harmony and inner peace
I love
and
that
power.
definition. Yeah.
Yeah. So the second part is you mentioned the somatic. Well, somatic basically means body based,
Sure.
or in another word, people may heard embodiment, right?
Hmm.
Interchangeably, we use it. So why healing is rooted? I believe healing is rooted in our body, is in soma, right? Means body. Well, because our body is the vehicle, is a channel
Yeah.
that stores any trauma or past event or repressed emotions. If people think trauma is such a strong word, actually, it's like everybody have gotten a paper cut before, right? It's like that. We all have been cut before. We have some woundings here and there on our skin, and
Yeah.
it repairs over time. So it's the same for trauma. Everybody grew up with that. It's a human, right? It's more about how we relate to it.
Hmm.
And when healing through the body, which really means we heal through our holistic being, not just understand what we need to do, understand or know or read, what it is.
Hmm.
So reading, understanding is the first step. And true healing true transformation happens through our holistic being, which includes our body
Mm.
as an important vehicle, because our behavior shows through our body, our emotions shows through our body, right? We cannot ignore body when we talk about changing our behavior, changing
Ah,
our pattern.
exactly. Exactly. I love that definition. It very much resonates with me. And when you described that part that needs to be healed or calls for healing at this very moment in the growth, it's really very often that at least many of my clients, they like, "Yeah, but I love myself. I accept
Yeah,
myself. So what's
yeah.
the problem?" But then it's like, okay, but the symptoms here, they say something else. So let's
Mm-hmm.
dive deep and see what's going on. And they do catch that connection with a part of themselves that actually is driven by different motives. Not really that much for expansion, rather contraction, protection, maybe even being, mean or something. There is a
Mm.
kind of internalized dialogue or pattern due to trauma. Exactly. And what's very interesting, many people think that, well, you need to have, for example, sexual trauma when, or differently, when you're having problems with sex or sexuality, it means you probably have sexual trauma. It's not that. Any kind of trauma translates to other areas of your personality, your nervous system. And it could be that you could be like constantly shamed in your childhood or shamed a few times, and that does have an impact on your sexual expression, how you approach relationships, how brave or vulnerable can you allow yourself to be in different kind of conversations, because you do feel the shame and it hasn't been properly, let go, properly released, got stuck somewhere, and
Mm-hmm.
actually shows up as a pattern.
Yeah.
And you can't go further without acknowledging that it is in your body. And many people just think, I will talk about it, I will kind of feel it, I will talk about my feelings, my emotions, that will settle the problem. At some point, that is already not enough. That is the first step, as you said. It's like understand so that you can go deeper, so that you can really understand and then let go. And I think that this is the most needed thing. Like we need to learn globally how to feel, how to process the feelings, the emotions.
Mm-hmm.
They need to go, they need to be in movement, and so that they could be released properly, because then they do not impact our behavior in a negative way.
Mm-hmm.
That brings me to another question. Because before we started, you've mentioned these wonderful two words, pleasure, empowerment. How does that how do you use this in your practice, in how you serve people, and what does it mean? Please share.
Oh, yeah. So I love that as also two words, pleasure and empowerment. Then let's dive into it.
Yeah.
Um, so what is pleasure? A lot of the time when I just see the word, it has a very interesting reaction.
Hmm.
So very often when people just think, oh, pleasure equals sex and equals orgasm, and then things goes up, right? And therefore, because of that link, therefore people have very strong reaction or emotions towards the word's pleasure. Might be excitement, or might be shame, or might be embarrassment, right? So any a range of emotions you can find, or joy, right? So if the person grew up in a very positive sex and body positive environment, well, pleasure is norm, right? It's normal. So really, that's just from the reaction to the word pleasure, you can tell like some of the histories of this person, right?
Hmm.
But in my definition, through my study and learning and practice, pleasure basically means what feels good in your body.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
thank you for saying that. Like, people, do you listen? Please hear it out. It's like
What feels
it's not
good.
about sex. It's not only reserved for sex. Like pleasure, like
Yeah.
babies have pleasure when they are being fed by their mothers. It's normal.
Yeah. So you may have pleasure by listening to your favorite music,
Hmm.
right? I bet that's why it's your favorite music, right? Or having such an open and deep conversation with a friend.
Hmm.
Yeah. Like when we have a conversation, I feel pleasure,
Mm.
right? Yes, along with many other feelings, but pleasure is one of it.
Hmm.
Or when you get a very nice sensual touch, right, from a lover, and not sexual, but very sensual and attentive, that's pleasure, right? That because that feels good. That feels
Exactly.
freaking good in our body, and our
Hmm.
body doesn't lie. Our
Yeah.
body doesn't lie.
Yeah.
One thing I wish for more people to experiment is the amount of time they can spend in pleasure.
Mm.
Allow that time to be longer and broader without cutting it off or without jumping into sexual connection.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
doesn't mean sexual connection is wrong. Of course, it's wonderful, right? So why I say that is because feeling good part, the pleasure part in general feeling pleasure in our body has been so limited
Hmm.
in the culture. I mean, in the US, I'm sure in where you live, in China, where I was born, I mean, everywhere pretty much in the world
Yeah.
is the pleasure container is so narrow that people don't usually allow them to feel this good with no sexual interaction attached.
Yeah. That is so
And
sad.
that's what missing,
Hmm.
especially when people thinking about how to have better sex, how to have better intimacy. One thing is important is to have more pleasure without
Yeah.
attaching sexual connection, even
Hmm.
with your lover, with your partner. It's possible, right? So that you have such a vast base to feel good without being goal oriented. The pressure of having to have a good orgasm, having to have amazing sex is so much pressure, especially if you do not have a good pleasure foundation.
Exactly.
But but when the pleasure is vastly available to you and your partner, a good sex is a natural byproduct.
That is so, so true. And this is exactly what I teach and how I guide couples that work with me, women that work with me, with men that I work. It's like, just find out what's pleasurable for you. Just find that eros within you. It is that spark, that life, that's something that makes you feel alive, that you want to go out, create stuff, or be, be expressive, a little bit extroverted, but still in a playful way, in a way that you can allow yourself to be silly and be open to connection because you can fake an orgasm, but you cannot fake pleasure. And it's a natural state for a human being. If we are not in pleasure, in the subtle turn on, we contract. And it's super important what you've mentioned a few times, and I will underline it again. Please, those of you who listen to us, pleasure is not only reserved for sex. It's not only there. It's far more. Good sex is the result of pleasure.
Yeah.
Uh, and if we focus only, and if we tie only pleasure to sex and sex is
Hmm.
pleasure, it's terribly limiting, sad, um, and I don't know. I lived that way, and I just thought pleasure is something that you have from time to time during sex because not always, right? It just happens sometimes due to mood of me or my partner or whatever. But it's not true. It can be built up. It can be. cared for, it can be cherished, it can grow, it can allow you to feel very good and alive. And that it's so yummy, and it takes you far more. It's beyond your age, it's beyond your body shape, it's beyond everything. This is something that you have access to constantly. Like, why not? Like, why not? Weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand some of the blocks people may have around pleasure. That's why we mentioned somatic healing first.
Hmm.
Healing is really about, how to be with the blocks and how to rewire those blocks so that it opens a window, opens a channel for people to embrace pleasure, right?
Yeah.
And then about empowerment. It's at beginning, a lot of people will feel like, what pleasure and empowerment, how they can come together. Well, they come naturally together
Yeah.
because when we feel good, good, when we feel nourished, we are way more connected with our being, with ourself. We are far less consumed by external noises or critics. And when that happens, that's what it is of true empowerment. True empowerment is not by, I think I should be doing something, I think I need to be a certain person, blah, 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 or there's a goal and I need to get there no matter what.
Be
That's
the highest and have the power.
very
Yeah.
effort. That's a lot of effort. And in the short term, it definitely generates results because I've been there, very goal oriented. However, in the long term, that's inevitably burnout.
Yes.
And you feel, I'm so fake. That's a
Yeah.
common feeling. Like I have achieved so much, but I feel so ingenuine, so fake, right? So because you're disconnected with how you're really feeling inside. That's why
Mm.
it feels fake, right? But instead of feeling good in your body through small things, through big things, no matter what, once the connection's there and it's guiding you on how you're gonna do and be and behave, and that is a natural, strong, and confidence coming from within
Yeah.
because you're aligned with yourself and nobody else can replace that connection and alignment.
Exactly. Exactly. If you don't feed your pleasure, you're very easy to be manipulated. You're very uh easy to fall into arrogance, into victim or arrogance. And
Or
that
yeah, your ego
yeah,
trap. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. That's why when you achieve something, even if it's very grandiose, very big, it's like, do I even deserve that? It's like, if I open up, will they love me? Well, you build a facade, so no wonder you may have this imposter syndrome. You may have these questions like, will they love me or will they reject me or do I even deserve this? It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't you, it was the facade, and it wasn't like with your true nature. It was to fulfill somebody else's needs, somebody else's vision of life or something. Let's just call it conditioning. And you just picked up something and you thought, yeah, okay, that's gonna do the thing. But it
Mm-hmm.
don't if you're disconnected with your body. It's like you can't ignore the body because this is your vehicle. It takes you through experiences. It moves you from place to place. Without your body, like we wouldn't be talking. We wouldn't be seeing each other. How can you ignore such a beautiful potential? It's amazing. So yeah, listening to the body is so important, and getting into that state of knowing your pleasure and really cultivating it. Like I really advise my clients to cultivate pleasure every day. Have an everyday pleasure practice, pleasure ritual, whatever and however, but just think about it as brushing your teeth or shower or something. You need that for your soul. Paradoxically, when you take care of your body, it's like your soul is happy. Yeah, and there are so many things that sadden me sometimes when I think about the level of disconnection, the scale of disconnection between people and their bodies. But I have a question for you. What is something that frustrates, saddens, or even angers you? particularly in the context of the area that you work in and the people you meet?
Yeah. Mm, so it's something I already kind of covered already. Um, but what really I feel is like people really, let me feel about it. It's because it brings up emotions inside of me. Um, so in the sex, love, and relationship area, a common frustration or complaints people have, or not have, is when they seek out for external or professional providers support, is they don't have good intimacy and sex life. And what saddens me is people relate to the lower body, hips, pelvis, genitals, right? So all the lower body part as an alien. So it feels like, although people don't say that way, but through the description they have, it feels like they're not part of their body. It's like a robot. Oh, I want to command you to perform, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and give me a better orgasm, you know, and give me high desire, high libido, right? It saddens me that how disconnected people are. I would say me included in the past, right? Before I was doing the work, disconnected with our lower part of our body. So a lot of times I see all the wants and needs and desires and complaints and frustrations all live. Most of people is living the head. For some people who have done good amount of therapy and inner work, right, lives from the heart and above. That's a progress for sure.
Mm-hmm.
However, disconnected from our lower body,
Yeah.
as if our lower body is a foreign person and we got to command what they need to do,
Mm-hmm.
right? And said, oh, okay, so I want you to do this, have a high libido, have a high desire, give me a better orgasm, right? And perform and don't
Whenever I
bother me
want.
anymore,
Yeah. Whenever I
right?
want to, on and
Yeah,
off.
and don't bother me anymore when I don't need you, but
Yeah.
perform when I need you with certain people, right? Or
Mhm.
on a specific time. So that amount of disconnection make me really sad
Yeah.
because the behind the scene is unconsciously they don't know this is part of them. You cannot just dictate the part that you don't pay attention to and to behave for you,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like if you don't treat an employee well, how can you expect they're gonna work hard in your business, right? If you don't treat them
Yeah.
well, it's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
If you're not connecting with your kid, how do you expect the kid will say something nice to you? No.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's it is very sad. And in my practice, when I remember so many times like having workshops with women offline or online, even in groups, how critical, harsh they could be talking about some of their body parts, specifically like under the belly.
Yeah.
Specifically, it's like um even when talking about their genitals, it's like they don't even have a name.
Right.
It's like down there, or in best cases they say yoni because it sounds nice and it's very
Mm.
fashionable right now. It's a very
Yeah.
fashionable word.
Yeah.
So they say yoni, but they do not own it. You can really
Yeah.
feel it. They do not own it. They treat it
Yeah.
like an instrument. As you
Yeah.
said, like I want to have like multiple orgasm, but I don't want to look at her. Like,
Yeah. I
yeah,
don't
I
want to
want that.
feel her. I don't
Yeah,
want to connect with her. I don't want to touch
yeah.
her.
I even
You
have
know?
clients. Yeah, I even have clients who say, I want to have good connection with my yoni so that I don't need my partner because we have a conflict right now. And I'm like, oh my God, you're literally asking me for tools to rape yourself. It's like you're asking me to have some thing that you can manipulate yourself
As a
and
weapon.
yeah, as a weapon to distance yourself from the partner that you do not want to talk with because
Mhm.
you both hurt each other. It's like take responsibility for what you have, like own what you have. It is what it is, and if you just put some loving attention to it, it will just it will pay you back like 100 times.
Yeah,
And
that's a
yeah,
part we
yeah,
just talk about the healing part comes in.
exactly,
That's why they
exactly.
always go together, right?
Mhm.
So
Oh,
we're
I
healing
remember.
the blocks and we bring more love and care and pleasure to
Mhm.
connect with our body. So they
Exactly.
go hand to hand.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. And what question would you like me to ask, or what is it that you would like to say more or go deeper? Because I may not go into something that makes you, lit up. And if there is something like that, please share.
Well, I know that this video is for specific for your YouTube channel, right? And I wonder if there anything you heard from your audience often and you want me to maybe talk about it. So what led me up is to make me feel excited and may not be the best way to connect with your audience because I don't interact with them. However, if something you have heard from some people or most of them over and over, I will feel such a pleasure to um, bring my thought or my, flavor into the
Mm.
topic, if there's anything. But if not, I can certainly pick up something out of my randomly. Yeah.
Oh, the question that very often pops up in my comment section, even though I have made already a few videos about that,
Mhm.
but it still continues, is how can I love myself? And what does it even mean? So I'm curious, how would you answer this?
Yeah, how can I love myself? Hmm. I would say be gentle. First, be gentle. So I say love myself, let's say it falls under the category of self-development, self-growth, right?
Mm,
Because this is the main part. No matter how what we encounter and talk about in self-growth and development, self-love is a universal foundation, right? Um, and there are two measures to that. There are two measures. And a lot of people pay attention to the first one, but not on the second. So it's a great thing to mention here.
oh, I'm curious.
Two measures. One is the volatility, this like a roller coaster ride, which means usually people will say it's a breakthrough. Breakthrough means, wow, I experienced such amazing breakthrough. I never thought it's possible. And internally, our hopes high. We have stronger faith. We are so excited. We're even so orgasmic, erotic, and what good hormones are rushing our body because we did something spectacular, right? So it's like a roller coaster ride,
Yeah,
right? And then slowly come down, hopefully slowly, right?
yeah.
So if you have a good guidance, then you'll come down slowly and ground. So that called a breakthrough, which is awesome, right? There is a misunderstanding that breakthrough equals self-love and progress.
Mm-hmm.
I would say yes and no. Yes, without those breakthroughs, how can you know you are improving, right? So it's a good indicator. Another side, it can be a dopamine uh, addiction, like anything else, make us excited, right? It's like if we keep shooting high and we'll come down to the same baseline, keep shooting high, come down to the same baseline. And that's when people experience a hard crash after a major breakthrough, hard crash, major breakthrough. So does that really improve our self-love? Um, in a small margin. You experience high and low. But when you come down to the point you're started, and that's the determination how far you have gone,
Exactly.
right? So that's the second pillar I want to emphasize, and a lot of people don't pay much attention,
Mm,
is how to improve your baseline of self-love.
that is so true.
Because only when the baseline improves, no matter how high your breakthrough is, you'll fall down to your baseline, which is on a day-to-day
Hmm.
basis, how
Hmm.
you interact with your close ones, how to react to triggers around you, and how do you bring loving attention when something is hard. And that's a baseline.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing is breakthrough is fun, it's exciting, it's great to experience. Don't chase it and don't measure it and think this is your self-love progress. The
Yeah.
a majority of the progress people can develop for self-love in the baseline, improve the baseline.
So
How?
true.
So this part, this is why people don't pay attention to it, less attention, is because this part is freaking boring.
Yeah. So
It's
unsexy.
freaking boring. Okay, it's like doing a 5 minutes meditation, going to the gym, do 20 reps,
Hmm.
right? Or brushing your teeth. This is as boring as that.
Hmm.
But that build our baseline
Yeah.
for our for our health teeth, for our good sleep, for our good bone and standing or posture, right?
Hmm.
Now you probably got why this part is so important, yet is boring. This is the gentle and the gradual attention in somatic healing. A lot of the different modalities which I practice as well, but in general, we call it somatic healing is we have gentle and consistent progress.
Exactly.
And people practice in a day-to-day basis. It feels boring at the beginning, but that over time definitely dramatically improve the baseline. And that's where we can measure and know, oh, I really love myself more now.
Yeah. I very often repeat to my clients, it's like, look at yourself. How are you treating yourself? And how are you, what narrative do you have? What stories emerge in you? And how do you react to them in the moment of your deepest crisis? Because you will know then how much you love yourself and how you express love to yourself. Like I remember that, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, whenever I was down, I was like, it was like a hell ride. I was self-criticizing, loathing, bitching, moaning, even hating myself, like having all these deeper depressed thoughts and comparing that to where I am today. It's not that I don't have difficult times. I mean, being in tantra teacher training, we shared some stuff. It was like, guys, it was like deep mud at some points. We needed to go through that, and everybody had some of their own stuff that emerged emotionally, and you have to take care of it by allowing people to let in, by being very gentle to yourself. And when I think of how did I handle all these emotional crises then, it's like, whoa, I didn't alienate myself. I was very gentle with myself, just as you mentioned, like in the beginning, like be gentle with yourself. I was really gentle with myself. I was just holding myself, I remember, and thinking, this is needed. This is the growth. This is how you get out of the shell. It hurts because light is just going into your eyes and you never saw it before. That's why it hurts. And you're so amazing, so brave, so courageous. I was talking like that to myself all the time. That's why it was so much different than it was before. And it took so much less time. So much, so less time comparing to the past. And this is really a game changer. I mean, sometimes I used to ask my clients, like, look at how much time your crisis took in the past. How much time does it take now? Like, compare that.
Yeah.
What are the situations? Is it like then I was broke, my boyfriend dumped me, my friends left me? Or is it now I'm having a raise and I don't know where to put that money in? But like
Mm,
the feelings are the same, the contexts are totally different.
mm,
And that is a game changer. But because the emotion will stay the same all the time, no matter what we are, where are we? It's they they express the same.
mhm.
But I love that answer that you shared. It's so much resonating with me. And yeah. So in the end of this conversation, I would like to really, really, from deepest parts of my heart, thank you for saying yes to this talk. And I just love that you could drop by and share some of your wisdom. And yeah, and guys, if you're interested, there are links to Jean's media. You can find her Instagram. What else should I post there, please?
And also have a YouTube channel as well in English.
Okay, awesome. So, guys, the YouTube channel and Instagram in the description of the video. So check out Jin's work, and you can find her there. And yeah, any last words, love?
No, I really wish people can find even just one thing that resonate with them and feel inspired,
Mm,
um, and to take action, you know, or uh, if there's no action, but they feel like being heard and seen and they're not alone in this journey. And I think that that will serve the purpose of today.
I'm definitely sure it will. And yeah, thank you so much. And guys, have a lovely day, week, evening, or whatever. And see you soon in the next episode.
All right, bye.
Bye.